Okay, we're live. Welcome to season 4, episode 2 of the Saul GoodCast. We're talking Better Call Saul, episode 2, season 4, and Breathe. And by God, the title of this episode really does mean something at the end of the episode.
Yeah, it does. It
At the
does.
end of it,
Yeah.
and it's an epic ending too. And I don't want to get too much into it because we've got a whole bunch of stuff to cover, but that could have been
Yeah.
a mid-season or series season finale episode moment
Yeah.
right here. And
It could have been.
I mean, it was so epic. All right, let's just go ahead and get to the ending because it's so good. It was so written well, directed well. So at the end of the episode, we see Arturo and Nacho meeting with Victor and Tyrus at the
Tyrus,
Los
yeah.
Pollos warehouse. And it's kind of set up as the same time when we first met them, and they're like, we need 6 bricks of cocaine because it was the whole transaction. And the first time we saw it, Gus okayed the 6th brick. This time, Arturo took it upon himself to say, we want 6, and Nacho backed them up, and they gave him 6. While they was leaving, Arturo said in his, spoiler alert, final words, we had them pissing in their pants. As soon as he said that, Gus comes out of the corner, takes a plastic bag, punts it over his freaking head, zip tied it to his head.
Yeah.
As he's suffocating in the plastic bag, and then he zip ties Arturo's hands and feet, and he just lays there suffocating, breathing, which is big hint in the episode tonight, breathing as he's gasping for air. And my God, this is the first episode we've seen Gus actually kill someone in Better Call Saul. We've seen him done it previously in Breaking Bad, which I would like to get into, the whole box cutter versus plastic bag, which is more brutal, or even the poisoning of the cartel. I mean, this is just because Gus never kills unless he has to.
Yeah.
And unless he has to make a statement. And by God, did he have to make a statement to Nacho in this episode.
He did. Yeah. And he of course Gus usually leaves it to his minions to do the dirty work.
Tyrus or
Victor, Tyrus. Yeah, Mike to do the dirty work. But this time, he took it upon himself. Of course, he had backup from Victor and Tyrus, obviously.
Yeah. But he was the one that put the plastic bag on his head. He was the one that zip-tied the bag to his head and knocked him out. Oh, I forgot the part where he knocked him over and hit his head on the car. To kind of knock him out, to kind of sedate him a little bit so he won't struggle as much.
Yeah.
But this could have been an episode, a scene in Breaking Bad, and it just gets me what's going to happen because Arturo is Hector's right hand man. When the cousins find out about this, or if they find out about this, how is Gus going to cover that up? Donnie Ladio is probably going to have to know about this, and Ibolsa, Donnie Bolsa has to find out about it. Juan Bolsa has to find out about this as well. This is a great episode. Jeez. Oh man.
And then Gus basically tells Nacho, you are mine.
Yeah. Ended on that note. That was a great episode. Nacho is scared shitless,
Yeah.
He's we saw him in the beginning with his father, and he told his father that he's out, not Nacho per se, but his dad is out of the whole picture for now. And that, his father asks, how are you going to get out? And Nacho responds that he's working on it. And it seems with the whole Gus situation, he's not going to get out anytime soon. which
No, not now,
which
not now. No, he's not going to get out now. I mean,
no, which I'm leaning towards that Nacho may die this season.
maybe.
I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to say Nacho is going to die this season, but I don't know by who though. I don't
Yeah.
know by who.
Now Nacho gave his father his cut, and his father refused it. You know, he's like this. His father. It's like his father didn't really want the dirty drug money. You know, he
Yeah.
didn't want the dirty money.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that was the way they ended this episode. Whoa! It was.
My reaction of like, holy! My jaw dropped to the floor.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit! And it's all the
Uh-huh.
second episode. This is the second episode, and this is written
Yeah.
by Thomas Schnauz. Thomas Schnauz, and he directs. He writes the. He writes some of the good stuff. He writes some of the good stuff, and this is directed by Michelle McLaren as well.
Yes. And she's directed some good ones too, and written some good ones. She's written and directed some good episodes too.
Yeah.
But let's see. I forgot how this. Let's see. How did this episode start? I mean, we had.
It started with not Nacho, but Victor and
Yeah.
Gus's personal doctor, who we saw
That's
in
right.
Breaking Bad, checking on Hector and
Yep.
to give Gus a status update on Hector.
Uh huh.
And
Yep.
they was kind of close of getting caught, but they didn't get caught. And
Yeah, they were yeah, they were in the they were in the hospital, you know, and they were in the dark, and they were.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is Gus's doctor from Breaking Bad as well.
Yes,
The
yes, it
same one
is.
from Breaking Bad, where
Yep.
after Gus gets poisoned, he goes to see his personal physician to help him recover from the poisoning. And we also saw him, I believe, in season 3, where he spoke to Mike about getting a little package. I think that was the first time we saw him. Was in I think it was either season 2 or season 3 of Better Call Saul.
Yep. Yeah. So basically, I mean, it seems like Hector is really not a threat, you know, at this point. But his influence is still being very much felt.
Yeah. Yeah, because we see the whole conversation between Gus and his doctor saying, just let him die. And Gus is like, no. He dies when I want him to die.
Yeah.
He's going to make sure that he's going to stay alive until we see in Breaking Bad of him killing every single member of the Salamanca family.
Yep.
So that he's the last Salamanca left.
Yeah.
That's Gus's plan, and I believe he started that plan last week, which was killing Arturo, because I think Arturo might be some relation to the Salamancas. I think he might be like a cousin or some kind of relationship to Tuco, and with if he's some sort of relation with Tuco, what's going to happen with Tuco when he finds out that Arturo died?
Yeah.
I mean, this season cannot have Tuco. This season has to have Tuco showing up. Either it's a guest appearance or something, but we need to see Tuco in this season, because we talked about this last week of how Tuco gets a hold of Hector to take care of him. We need to see how he gets Hector so he can take care of Hector.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, that was a great way to open the episode with Tuco, with Gus talking to the personal physician. Great callback to Breaking Bad.
Yeah. And then we saw his doctor mention Johns Hopkins, and that plays a role later in this episode.
Right, yeah. We see, because we do see a doctor from Johns Hopkins, and it turns out she speaks Spanish, and she's talking to, we see the cousins for the first time since season 3. we see the cousins, and they're in the room with Hector,
Hmm. But
keeping an eye.
the way the doctor was able to visit Hector and see Hector was because of a anonymous donation, which we probably can understand that was from Gus. And I brought this
Yeah,
up to you in the message room. Remember in Breaking Bad, it's either that same hospital that Gus was a board member of. So I'm thinking that has
most
something to
likely,
do with
yeah.
the whole, donation from Gus.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if we get to see the relationship established between Gus and the hospital, because there's got to be a reason why Gus is a board member of that particular hospital, and I'm leaning towards is that Gus got onto the board so he knows what's going on with Hector. That's my theory, and
Mm-hmm.
I just thought of that theory right this second because he's got to know how Hector is doing, and what better way is to get inside the hospital by becoming a board member?
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
we,
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
Mhm.
That they would do it that way. That they would, yeah. That definitely makes sense. I mean, and obviously, yeah, I do think this anonymous grant did come from Gus.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be because Gus's doctor. I think his name is Barry Goodman, which is kind of funny because we got two Goodmans coming on, Barry Goodman and Saul Goodman.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that
mean
was
his
interesting.
doctor mentioned Johns Hopkins, and then a few scenes later we see a doctor from Johns Hopkins.
Yep.
And I really liked the scene. I thought it was pretty funny. The doctor comes in and she was speaking to the other doctor that was attending Hector, and he
Uh-huh.
was kind of nervous because of the cousins and everything. And she was like, "Well, we can have you on board." And the doctor said, "Nope, you can have him. You can have him anytime." Pushing him on to the doctor. And I think this is like one of the episodes the cousins spoke the most. Communing back and forth between
Yep.
them and the doctor.
And then they spoke Spanish.
Yeah, Spanish. We only
Yep.
heard them speaking English in Breaking Bad when they was talking to the guy that they bought the bullet and the vests off of.
Oh
When
yeah, I
they
remember
like the
that.
1 minute, they just spoke. I think they spoke like one or two lines. But yeah, we heard them in English. But we get to see the cousins Monday night again, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen when they find out that Arturo is dead.
Oh yeah. But let's see. We see Jimmy. We see
Mhm.
Jimmy. He's angling for. He's still trying to find a job. He goes to the. Remember, we saw in the preview. We saw the copier place, and we saw where he was
Mhm.
rattling off knowledge about different copiers. And the guy
Yeah.
that was with him was impressed
Mhm.
by that. The guy's name. It turns out the guy's name was Henry. We found
Yeah.
out. Yeah. And then we have the main boss, and
Yeah, Mr. I think is what Mr. Neff. I think he's like one of the nephews or in the relationship of
yeah,
the
Mr. Neff,
nephew.
yeah,
Yeah,
because it was apparently a family company, like a family
Mhm.
business, several generations, things like that, and I mean the knowledge that Jimmy had about copiers was what really
Yeah.
kind of got his foot in the door, as it were.
Mhm. Yeah, the one particular part of that scene stood out to me was when he was talking about when Henry was talking about the copier that made counterfeit bills, and Jimmy looked at like he said he worked with that particular copier back in Cicero, Slippin' Jimmy.
uh,
So I wonder if he made some of them counterfeit bills to help
yes.
with his Slippin' Jimmy schemes.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too.
Because he looked at him kind of awkwardly, and he was like, that's not right."
Coming from Jimmy, that's not
Yeah,
right.
yeah. He knew. Jimmy knew exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah, he did. That was funny. That was it. That was a very interesting scene.
Mm-hmm.
But basically the boss says, okay, we'll get back to you in about a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jimmy goes into Saul mode.
Yeah.
He starts basically selling himself and selling his abilities. Like, yeah, okay, you might wait a week, but what if there's another, there might be another guy. You might hire another guy, but is he going to have the knowledge to be able to figure out these
Yeah.
copiers? Is he going to,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, is he going to know
Yeah.
the ins and outs and
Yeah,
all
and it's
that?
like you're gonna waste time and money just to try and find another guy who I'm the guy right here. I'm the guy you need. I'm the guy you want. And I love the whole the copier is the heartbeat of the business. Ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. I
Yes,
mean,
yes,
because now every time I go to the copier at my office, it's like I'm thinking of the ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunks now. Because of
yeah,
freaking Jimmy. But I love that scene, and it was a
yeah,
great scene. It played out, and it worked. And the guys is like, you know what, we're going to hire you. You can
yeah.
be in employment by the end of the day. And then
Yeah,
Jimmy
but
is like,
then,
sure, you want me?
yeah. But then Jimmy turns around and is like, now, wait a minute. Okay, I'm a guy coming in off the street. You don't know who I am.
Mhm.
Why would you hire me? You haven't checked my credentials. You haven't checked my background or anything like
I could
that.
be a serial killer. I could be the guy that
Yeah,
pisses in your coffee or
yeah,
both.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
So
my god.
basically, he builds himself up, he sells himself, and then he knocks himself back down
Mhm.
and out of consideration. But of course, he had another offer, or he had another job interview lined up
Mhm.
that day also.
And which come to think of is like, does Jimmy really want a new job, or is he just out there trying to be slipping Jimmy and trying to scam these people?
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
Because we do see in the previews for not I don't think not for Monday, but we did see in like the trailer from Comic Con we saw Jimmy and Kim, and Jimmy said that I found a new job, I've got a new job. And Kim says, that's great. And we need to know what job that is. We need to know if it's an actual job or if Jimmy is just lying to Kim, you know,
Uh,
which is, could be a huge possibility.
right, because all we see in the trailer is I got a job, but does he have a
Yeah.
job?
Yeah. And speaking of that job, there was a shot of the whole wall of crap, and Jimmy noticed the Hummel from in the little thing from way back in season one when the old lady that he knew collected those things, and he even said that I
Right.
knew a lady who collected the Hummels as well. And that Hummel is going to play a very important role later in this episode, and plus leading into Monday night's episode
Uh
because we see Jimmy in tonight's episode, this past Monday's episode, looking at the Hummel, and he finds out it's worth over $8,000. And he
Yep.
goes and he calls Mike and says, "Hey, I have a job for you." Apparently he wants Mike to steal the Hummel so they can collect on the money and split it 50-50. And we do
uh,
see in the trailer that Mike says, "No, I'm not going to do this, and this is not like you." And we see and we see also that there's someone going to go and break into the copier place. Who is that going to be? Is that Mike? Is it someone else?
yeah.
And
Yeah, because we remember the old lady from season one who collected those
yeah, that was
Hummels.
great.
Yeah. Remember, wasn't that the same episode where the person was trying to sell a talking toilet?
I think it was Tony the talking toilet.
Oh my lord, I remember
That was great. I
that. The
remember Tony the
talking.
talking toilet.
Yeah.
I think they've actually made little ones of those, and you flush the handle and it talks. I think they've actually made those.
Yeah. Probably so. So in the meantime, Mike is taking care of Kaylee. They're at the
Oh,
park. Remember, they were at the
yeah,
park.
exactly. I love this shot because this is a shot for shot, callback Easter egg from Breaking Bad. And before Mike, um, when we last saw Mike was at the park, and the very exact same shot with Kylie, Kaylee swinging,
Yeah.
Mike doing on his crossword puzzle, and then we
Yep.
get to see the phone call, and then it's Walter to tell him that the DEA's after him, and then that's when Mike left Kaylee at the park, and then takes off.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole scene, played out. The first part of that whole scene played out just like we last saw Mike in Breaking Bad, which I
Yes.
thought it was a great scene, great
Yeah.
callback, great Easter egg.
Yep.
And it's I think it's Lydia that called him in
Yes,
because
it was
she wants to
Lydia,
meet with him because of his whole debacle that he did last week
the
with
security
magical,
consultant.
yeah, as the
Yeah.
security consultant and with magical electric motive. And then we saw that little awesome scene with Kaylee saying, 5 more minutes, pop, and Mike, it's like,
Uh,
yeah, 5 more minutes. It's like, oh man, kind of tugged me at the heartstrings because
oh yeah,
that's the last,
yeah.
because we know what happens to Mike in Breaking Bad, and it's like,
Oh,
oh
I
man,
know. Yeah.
oh man, and it's great to see more with Mike and Kaylee. It's just
It
great to see.
was. It was. Yeah. And of course, the thing is, with this being a prequel, I do think we're going to see a lot more with Mike
Yeah.
and his granddaughter.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot,
I'm
a lot
looking
more
forward to
moment.
that.
I think we're going to see a lot more moments like that where they're going to,
Hmm.
be. But yeah, that was great. Of course, he meets with Lydia. Lydia's got, of course, pretty fancy digs, as I mentioned.
Yeah, very fancy. And then Lydia, she's kind of paranoid because that's how Lydia is. She's like, why are you doing this? Why are you showing your face? And you're Mike. Mike has a great reason to do this because if anything happens and they question them, and they say, we never seen this dude here. We don't know who he is. Of course, Mike has to keep up appearances. And I have to
Right.
agree with
Yeah.
Mike. I mean, especially we see in Breaking Bad where they questioned Mike about him being a security consultant.
Hmm.
Hank questions him about that.
Yeah. But and then later on in this episode, Lydia basically tells Mike, you need to stay on Gus. Gus
Hmm.
Fring thinks a lot of you. It would be wise to stay on his good side.
Yeah.
So Lydia calls Gus, and Gus had no problem. Gus has no issue with it.
Yeah. And I
Gus
thought
is
that was a great line by Gus. It was a great line. It's like, well, I suggest you give him a badge.
Yeah, because Lydia's all concerned
I
about
laughed.
Lydia was concerned about Mike stealing the guy's badge, and Gus is like, "Well, then I suggest you give him his own badge."
Yeah, I laughed so hard at that line.
I know that was
It was a
great.
great
That was
line.
great.
Funny line. Funny delivery by John
But
Oliver.
see, I thought about it. I said, I'll bet Gus is just gonna wave it off, say, no, there's no problem with that.
Yeah.
He's keeping up appearances.
Hmm.
This is
And,
what
and,
this.
and even Gus said so himself is that he's respectable. I know him. He's not going to do anything to hurt
Yes.
us.
Yeah. Yeah. Gus puts a certain amount of trust in Mike.
Hmm.
For sure. And that's why he's letting him do it. He's like, hey, yeah, I know this guy, he's a professional. And
Hmm.
Mike is a professional.
Yeah.
Has he ever been caught breaking into anywhere and breaking out?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
No.
And then I love Mike's reaction. He's like, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Hmm.
That was great with Mike.
And tell me that Jonathan Banks does not have one of the best poker faces.
Oh my God, it's just great. Mike.
No reaction.
No
He just
reaction.
very flat reaction to everything.
Exactly. I think the most reaction we've got out of Mike was way back in season 1 when he was talking about his son and he
Yeah.
started to cry. That is the most emotional we've ever seen
Yeah.
Mike.
I think
And
so.
and it was a shame that Jonathan Banks never got an Emmy for that.
He was nominated though. He
He
was
was nominated,
nominated.
but he should have won.
Yeah.
He should
I
have won
know.
that because that was the most emotion we've ever seen out of
Yeah,
Mike.
it was great. It was great. Yeah, I think he's gotten at least one or two other nominations for playing Mike since then
Mhm.
from the Emmys. So, but yeah, I mean, 'cause Jonathan Banks. Gosh, we're big Mike fans, both of us.
Yeah.
I know, and
Oh yeah, huge
he is
Mike
just
fan.
yes, love Mike,
Yeah,
love
I
Jonathan.
wish I know a guy like Mike so we can, so I can be like, undercover and everything, so he can,
Yeah,
pick my screw ups.
but in the meantime, Jimmy's still kind of covering up things and hiding things from Kim.
Hmm.
And Kim actually goes to H&M, or yeah,
Yeah, and a
eh,
great scene between Kim and Hamlin. I thought it was a
yeah.
fantastic scene between the two.
And also Rebecca is there because she's
Hmm.
taking control of the rest of Chuck's estate.
Yeah. Yeah, so it seems like uh, Rebecca is going to take, like you said, take control of Chuck's estate, and I said that she's probably going to have the house tore down
Yeah.
because that
No,
thing's beyond repair.
there's not much left of it anyway.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, and so we see the great scene, and I wish Ellen was on to discuss this with us because she can give us more great insight on the Hamlin and Kim scene,
yeah,
the female perspective that we need.
I know.
I gotta say, I love the Kim and Hamlin scene. I think Kim really tore it into Hamlin, and she was 100% right about all this.
Yeah.
She said that, what's fair of you allowing Jimmy come in and dig through Chuck's belongings and take a keepsake or two, and Hamlin was talking about having Jimmy on a board of a scholarship committee, and Kim turned into that tore a new one into him on that one because she said that Chuck would never want him on that committee, and she is 100% right on that. And then it seems.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and he basically Jimmy is given this $5,000, almost like severance pay, you might say.
Yeah, because he was not in the will of Chuck.
Yeah,
Chuck did not put him in the will.
yeah. And also, there's a letter which I don't think Kim's ever going to give that letter to Jimmy.
I hope we find out what's in that letter this season.
Yeah,
Because I think what the writers are doing with Jimmy is that he's going to go through the 7 stages of grief. We saw the denial stage. Now he's on like stage 2, and this whole death of Chuck is, Jimmy's still thinking about it, even though he's not showing it. What Jimmy's doing is taking his feelings about Chuck and just burying it deep down inside,
yeah.
and it's going to get to the point where I think Jimmy may come across that letter, and he's going to read it, and he's just going to explode. He's going to explode after reading
Hmm.
that letter. I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to come across that letter and just explode.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think. I
To
mean,
quote Mike,
eventually,
I'm going to
he.
quote Mike on this from Breaking Bad. From Breaking Bad when he was talking to Walter, saying, "You're a time bomb, getting ready to explode, and I don't want to be there when you do explode." And that's exactly
Yeah,
what Jimmy is. Jimmy's a ticking time bomb, and he's just getting
yeah.
ready to explode. But go ahead, Henry.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's good. I think eventually, yeah, we have to see if Jimmy finds that letter. I think,
Mm-hmm.
good. I think, yeah, I think you're right. Once he does, he will explode. It will not be pleasant. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then, yeah, I do want. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing what's in that letter also.
Yeah, and I hope we find out what's in that letter. And I love Kim's reaction to when she got the letter. Another screw you by his brother that's beyond the grave, and screw you to your little brother beyond the grave, which is I think it's great. And I want to predict what's in that letter was that I hope it's not a big screw you, little brother, but I hope it's what Chuck said when we last saw him. I didn't really care much about you, and I hope that Chuck wrote that letter and say to apologize for that, and that he did care about him, and that he did love him. I hope that's what's in that letter.
Yeah, I mean, but this, this was. I mean, it was great. Patrick Fabian, of course, he's great as Hamlin, Howard Hamlin, and of course, it was great to see Ann Cusack again as Rebecca.
Yeah, it's great, and I hope we get to see more of Rebecca this season.
Yes, I do too.
Because I think because there's got to be some unfinished business with Rebecca. Because there's got to be with the whole, Chuck's estate and everything, Chuck's property. I mean, there's some unfinished business there.
Yeah.
And I wonder what's going to, and again, what's going to go on with HHM? I mean, is HHM is going to survive, or is it going to go under? I mean, I think that's the question that we keep on asking ourselves each week.
Yeah.
What's happening with HHM?
Absolutely. Because we really don't hear we don't hear a thing about it in Breaking Bad. We don't hear about that. We don't hear about Nacho.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about Better Call Saul is filling in the gaps. It's telling us about all this new stuff that we didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's doing it in a great way. I think it's really
yeah.
It's like, and we're learning things. We're learning things on Better Call Saul that that really tie into that go into Breaking Bad later on.
Yeah, I know it fills in some of the plot points and plot holes that Breaking Bad had, and which I think is great. And I cannot wait. And I know I say this each week for Lilo to show up, and I am on pins and needles because this is a new character. We only heard his name. We don't know what he is. We don't know what he's like. And I want to see Lalo, and I would love to see the big collision between Lalo and Gus, because there's got to be a big collision there.
Yeah, exactly. That's gonna be interesting, because as you mentioned, we only heard about Lalo in Breaking Bad, kind of a passing reference. Yeah.
Yeah. A throwaway line.
Yes. Well, that's like the throwaway line from Breaking Bad about about Saul being a Cinnabon operator or a Cinnabon manager in Omaha, and then that's what we see.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Because in that particular line it says a month from now, and we don't know the timeline of the whole gene flash forwards that they keep showing us each season. Which what we brought up last week is that Walter White could still be alive. That could be the month of when Walter is in New Hampshire, hiding out.
Yeah. Well, obviously he was in New Hampshire for, like I say, a few months. Walter was
3 months or so.
3 months, something like that.
Gene could have been already established in those 3 months. And what we are seeing in Better Call Saul could be before Walt leaves New Hampshire and go back to Albuquerque to finish what he started.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. That's exactly it. Oh, so since we already skipped ahead to the ending, I think we've covered just about every aspect of this episode. Yeah.
I think we covered. I mean, the biggest thing that happened was the whole ending, and I loved every second of that ending. I just can't stop. I had to go back and watch because AMC usually uploads like the clip of the most talked about part of the episode, and I had to go back and watch that again because it was so awesome. I mean, even though the dude was getting suffocated by a freaking plastic bag, I mean, it was like executed perfectly.
It reminded me of a scene in the movie Casino where they shoot a guy in the head, and then they put a plastic bag over his head. He's bleeding into the plastic bag.
Ooh, dang.
Yeah.
That
That
would
was
be
in the
even
movie.
worse if Gus did that.
I thought that's what they were. I thought that's what they were going to do, but no, they decided to do the suffocation thing.
Yeah. Which again, that's why we got the title "Breathe." So let's because I mentioned this in the chat room. We got to compare deaths like Gus. So Gus, he poisoned the cartel. He used the box cutter on Victor,
Yeah.
and he suffocated Arturo. That's the only three that we know of, and I wonder if we're going to see more of Gus taking matters into his own hands in Better Call Saul or in this season in particular.
Don't be surprised. Do not be surprised because
You know, I think you think he'll kill Nacho Gus,
oh
or
gosh,
would he give it that to Tyrus or Victor?
that's a good question. Yeah, would he kill Nacho? That's a really good question. I don't know. If Nacho does something that displeases him so much,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would think he would do something like that.
Yeah, I think he would too. I think if it got to the point of where Gus needs to take out Nacho because he's a threat to his whole
Or
operation,
or a
I think he would do
liability,
it.
or also if he's a
Yeah,
liability or a threat, yeah, that's what I'm
yeah.
thinking.
If he was like a threat or liability to the whole operation, because the whole operation that Gus is conducting is to take out the Salamancas so that he can control their territory. And
Mm-hmm.
we see all that play out in Breaking Bad.
Yep. Yep.
And I think this is the start of the whole, taking out the Salamancas, because Arturo is somehow related to the whole Salamanca clan. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if we've established that in Better Call Saul.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's got to be some relationship to the Salamancas.
I thought it was interesting when the doctor asked the cousins, what relation they were to Hector.
Mm-hmm.
And they said uncle.
Yeah, that was great. Because we saw the flashback in Breaking Bad when we saw the two cousins as kids. They were playing.
Yep. And we saw Hector trying to, Hector drowning one of them, and the other one, yeah, one of the, yep.
But I gotta say that Gus's kill in this episode, I gotta give it at number 2. Because number 1 for me is the box cutter, because that was brutal.
Absolutely.
That was brutal. Yeah. It was bloody. It was more what I'm looking for. More crap. It was more hardcore than the whole suffocation of the plastic bag. It was more brutal than the suffocation of the plastic bag.
It was.
So if I have to rank those 3 deaths, I got to punt the poisoning at number 3, the plastic bag at number 2, and the box cutter at number 1.
Yeah, and of course the one thing that made the box cutter scene even more frightening was Gus hardly said a word.
Yeah, it was just all conveyed with walking and motion, and he just sliced the dude's throat, holds his neck out, wait until he bleeds out, drops him, goes back, cleans himself up, walks up the stairs, get back to work, and then leave.
Just 4 simple words. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just leaves.
Yeah.
That right there made... Because see, right there in Breaking Bad, that made Gus a serious threat to Walter and Jesse. The whole box cutter thing.
But he didn't say a word when he was coming down the stairs either.
No, he didn't say a word coming down the stairs. He only said it as he was leaving.
Yeah,
which is brutal.
That made the whole scene even better, I thought.
Yeah, and that was the beginning, and that was the first episode of season 4.
Yes.
So that established Gus a serious threat to Walt and Jesse.
And that was after season 3's finale where Jesse shot Gale.
Yeah. Half measures and full measure. half
Right. Yeah.
measure and full
Full.
measure, which I thought
Yeah.
was a great episode of season 3. Was full
Of
measure.
course, I still love the half measure speech from Mike.
Yeah,
One of the best.
yeah. But I gotta say, his other speech about his son, it's got to top half measures. It's got to
They
top half
broke my
measures.
boy.
Yeah, he broke. I'm going that he broke
I
my
broke
boy's
my
speech.
boy.
I broke my boy's speech.
Yes. Oh
I
man.
gotta give that number one. If I had to rank the half measures through I broke my boy, I gotta give that number one because Jonathan Banks conveyed the emotion that we've never seen out of Mike before,
Yeah.
and that was just great. I mean, with the half measure speech, it was, it was like Mike telling a story, you know.
Yeah.
But with him, with Stacy, and telling him what happened to his son, that brought a little tear to my eye. I ain't gonna lie, it was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
So let's
so
see what is going to happen this Monday. What's the name of the episode this Monday?
something beautiful.
Something beautiful. That should be interesting.
Yeah. So in the teaser that we saw, we see that Kim is going back to work at Mesa Verde. So
Ah,
it's going to be
yes.
quite interesting to see how they go from here. Fun fact: Ray Seahorn was doing an interview, and she was talking about the cast on her arm, and she said, "Excuse me, that was a real cast. They didn't just slip it on and slip it off. They had to actually punt it on her arm as an actual cast, and they had to saw it off after every scene or at the end of each scene when she gets done, and then
Wow.
punt it back on every time." Fun fact.
That's yeah.
But we do see Kim going back to work, and it's going to be quite interesting to see what state of mind she is in after the whole near-death experience she had in season 3 with the whole car crash.
Yeah, yeah, because she's dealing with, I think she has to try and deal with psychological effects of, almost dying
Yeah,
because that could have been a fatal car crash.
yeah. Luckily, it wasn't, because I really like Kim. I really enjoy Kim. I enjoy seeing Ray Seahorn on the screen. She's trained
Yeah.
with character very well. But
It was cool to see her on that episode of Roseanne.
yeah,
Yeah,
they dressed her up. I did not recognize her at all until you pointed her out. I was like, oh yeah, that is her.
the voice was what I said. I said the voice. Yeah, the voice, and even I was unsure at first. I said, "Is that Kim?" And when they showed the cast at the end, it was Ray Seahorn. Oh, it is Kim.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, we got to look out for her now.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was great, and yeah, this was a tremendous. I mean, these first two episodes of this season
Mhm.
had just been phenomenal. They were absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, the first episode kind of set the tone for the rest of the season, and then the second episode really, cranked it up to 11, especially the ending.
yeah. I mean, the first episode was more of a laying the groundwork of what's yet to come in this season. It was finishing tying up some loose ends in season 3, but episode 2 really kicked it into high gear. I agree.
Boy, it did.
They kicked it in high gear. It's like, holy shit, is this what we're going to be in for the rest of this season? And this could have been like a moment in Breaking Bad, with Gus.
Absolutely, and I mean, I was just, oh man, I'll say that the plastic bag thing was comparable to the box cutter moment.
I gotta say, it was like nothing that I would ever thought that they would write. Suffocation by plastic bag. It was like I was never expecting that. I kind of had a feeling that Arturo was going to die, because they was like building him up, being the next man in charge because Hector is incapacitated, and they actually addressed that with Victor saying the dude's incapacitated. He can't even speak. He can't even open his eyes. And they was like trying to build Arturo up as the the next guy in charge, but Didn't happen that way. And now
Right? Yeah.
Gus is in Gus. This right here, Gus is in charge. He's in large in charge.
Boy, he sure is. Man. uh, I mean, Gus
But
really he established his authority. He did definitely in this episode.
yeah,
Of course, what I thought was interesting was, he's outside in the parking lot cleaning it up. He's sweeping up
yeah.
in Los Pollos
Which I thought
Hermanos.
was a great moment because that's the first. Because when we was introduced into Gus back in season 3 of Better Call Saul last season, we saw him cleaning up the parking lot, which I thought was great. And we
Uh-huh.
see him clean up the parking lot a couple of times in Breaking Bad as well.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so he's a real hands-on. Yeah, but people are like, yeah, this guy's a real hands-on manager for his business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought what was interesting is I wonder how we're going to. I wonder how they're going to write when when we first meet Gus in Breaking Bad, he was wearing a blue shirt instead of his classic yellow shirt.
Mm-hmm.
They changed his shirt, and that has been his icon. His calling card is the yellow shirt that we know. So when we first see Gus in Breaking Bad, he's in a blue short sleeve shirt. So I wonder if they're going to make any change if we're going to see him in different shirts because they got to keep up with the continuity a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, that's very interesting. So, yeah, but yeah, that's true. He was wearing a blue shirt. What prompted the change from yellow to blue?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, of course, Giancarlo Esposito is just tremendous.
Yeah.
He's great. He does such a great job.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been in several movies. He was on the show Community.
Yeah.
So, and you remember I pointed out. Remember I told you a few months ago I had watched the movie Trading Places, and he's actually in that movie
Mm-hmm.
in a short scene.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. And then he actually had an appearance in Sesame Street, which I thought was hilarious. I mean, let's see, what's he going to do? Is he going to put a plastic bag over Big Bird or cut him like the
Oh yeah, that's
Oh my
pretty funny.
gosh! Yeah, that'd be great. They need to do like a parody of John Cotto in Sesame Street that has Gus, and he whacks every character off of Sesame Street so he can control Sesame Street because he wants Sesame Street to be his new territory or something. Well, which is, I think is weird this season is that they're not doing the webisodes like they did last season with
Oh,
the
I noticed
whole
that.
training video of Los Pollos Hermanos, which I absolutely love.
That was great.
Videos.
Those were great. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I love
love
those.
those. I wish they would have done some webisodes this season.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't.
But going back to Monday's episode and going back to Kim, what's going to happen with Kim and her Mesa Verde? Is she going to quit Mesa Verde? Is she going to quit being a lawyer altogether?
Yeah.
Because we know she is under a lot of stress. Because we saw that with the car wreck, because she was overdoing herself with the Mesa Verde, with the Sandpiper stuff, and all that, and even the whole oil, because we saw her at the oil facility with this guy, and he wanted to know where his line is, is right, so he won't go past it. So Kim is working herself overtime, and is she going to get fed up with it and say, I quit being a lawyer? And maybe that's the reason why we don't see Kim in Breaking Bad. She quits being a lawyer. She, moves on to something else.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that too. That's very interesting.
And then, like I said earlier, they teased the whole interaction between Jimmy and Mike Monday night, and Jimmy asking Mike to go into the copier store and rob the place so he can get that Hummel, and then they can split it 50-50. In that teaser, we do see someone breaking into the copier place. Neff, that's the name of the
Yeah.
place. Neff Copiers. You know,
Yeah,
we do
Neff.
see someone in
Right.
there. However, when I freeze frame and I had to look closely to see who we could possibly be. The guy was wearing a toboggan, and I don't think Mike would have wear a hat to break into something.
No, no,
No, I don't
we.
think. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say it's not Mike. When I freeze, I don't know if you saw it as well, but I don't think it's Mike. I think
Wait,
it's someone else.
a toboggan. Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Now we do know that Badger wore a toboggan, did he not?
Oh yeah, he
You
did.
don't suppose?
Well, he
You
well.
know.
Hmm.
Now, wouldn't that be interesting?
Well, Skinny Pete also wore the toboggan too,
Yeah.
but
Oh
he's in
yeah.
prison. But he's in prison with Tuco, we
Yeah.
assume. But why would it? Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how would it be? Why would it be Badger? It can't. First off, it can't be Badger because Saul never met Badger until that whole situation of Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah.
So it can't be Badger.
Hmm.
When I freeze
But
frame
we
Ogden,
don't really know. But there's I'm just saying there's I'm throwing this out as a possibility that it might
if
be.
it's Badger, I'm gonna be shocked.
I
I'm
know.
gonna be shocked. I'll be like, okay, we gotta. How would it be? Because see, when I freeze framed it, it looked like the dude had a beard. It looked like he had
Oh,
a
a
beard.
beard. Well,
Yeah, it kind of looked like he had a beard or something. I
hmm.
was thinking Kirby.
Oh, QB.
QB. That's what I was thinking. I'm
Bill
thinking QB.
Burr. Yeah,
Bill
Bill
Burr.
Burr.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
QB because he had a beard. I'm thinking QB.
That would be cool if it was QB. Yeah. Cause, well, it would make sense too because I mean we know that QB and
Hugh.
Huel were kind of Saul's.
Yeah, the A team. We called him the A team.
Yeah, they were his A team. So maybe he meets QB, or Mike puts him in contact with QB. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what. See, I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking Mike probably knows a guy who knows a guy, and get Jimmy in contact with someone.
Yeah, because that's how he met Hugh. Was that the Mike knew the veterinarian and the veterinarian knew Hugh.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
maybe because we got to see QB. We got to see QB.
It would be cool if we see the veterinarian again too.
Yeah, we have to see the veterinarian. I hope we see that veterinarian again.
Because he and Mike, had that working relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a very good possibility too. You mentioned it being QB,
Yeah. I
possibly.
mean, he has to. I mean, he has to be. It has. We have to see QB and how QB and Saul met. Because
Mm-hmm.
when we see that little tease between Mike and Jimmy, Mike says, "You know what? I'm not going to do it. It's not for me, and I know it's not for you." But maybe Mike would be like, well, let me see if I can get in touch with the guy that'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
If he wants it bad enough, I'm going to go on record with QB. I'm going to say it's QB.
Oh man, Bill Burr, that'd be great.
Yeah, I hope we see Bill Burr this year. Bill Burr is great.
He is. I've seen some of his stand up on YouTube.
Yeah,
He's
he
pretty
is
damn.
hilarious. He is
He's
hilarious.
pretty damn funny. Yeah, he is. Bill Burr is great. And
Also,
Lavelle Crawford is a stand up also.
yeah, there was a lot of comedians in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Speaking of which, I was listening to the Insider podcast, and they was talking about the whole Henry and Mr. Neff.
Uh,
they were a comedic team.
oh,
Yeah, they was brought on by actually Bob Odenkirk's wife,
oh,
and they played that scene out very well. And again, I love the whole. So you're not taking the job? That was great, hilarious.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, the way they work together, yeah, that would make sense. The way the two actors work together,
mhm. And
that makes sense.
we also see a in that tease we see the copier place again, Neff again, and Monday and what's going to be in Monday's episode, and we see a guy on the couch, and it looks like he's sleeping there, and it looks when I paused it, it looks like it was Henry that was sitting on the couch. So it makes me
Wow.
wonder if Henry is sleeping there.
Yeah.
Is spending the nights there.
Maybe. Oh man.
And
Yeah.
then
What's
we're
gonna?
going to get some resolution between the whole Gus, Arturo, Nacho, and next Monday's episode.
Yep.
Excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
In this episode, we already see Gus in the beginning, the middle, and the end. But we felt his presence in the scenes that he wasn't in.
Yeah, we did.
This is more of a Gus episode, with Jimmy on the back burner a little bit. But I was disappointed that we didn't see the rest of Jimmy's job interviews. I hope we see that next week. Because I would like to see if Jimmy did the whole, shebang of why not hire me on the other job interviews. And I think that would have been quite interesting to see.
It would have. It would have. And also, I'm hoping that we see on Better Call Saul how Huell comes into the picture as far as.
Well, we did see Huell last season.
Yes, we did.
So I want to see more.
Yeah, I mean, well, we have to see him how he becomes hooked up with Jimmy. That's
breaking into the copy and place.
I don't know, because remember, he has narcolepsy. He might fall asleep. He might fall asleep standing up.
Yeah.
No, I think it's probably if it's anybody, yeah, but it could be somebody we've never seen before, but it could be QB. I mean, your theory could have some merit to it. It could be QB.
And I hope we get to see Francesca again in this season.
Oh yes, Francesca, because eventually, we know Jimmy has to hire her as a secretary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Francesca, we got to see Sugar Tits or Honey Tits or whatever you call her.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about Francesca. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm glad that Vince Gilligan decided to come up with a prequel.
Yeah. And I'm glad that this is not a cash grab.
Yes.
Breaking Bad. I'm glad it was Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould. Two of the good head writers and creator of Breaking Bad. And I'm glad they actually thought this out and not be like, this is another cash grab.
And using some of the same directors and writers also, which is
insane. And it's like they really took their time with it, and it started off a little rocky because they didn't know where to go, but I think they finally found their footing. And because when they first thought about the Better Call Saul prequel, they wanted to have Saul Goodman do a new case each week, a 30-minute show with a new case each week, and more comedic wise. I'm glad they didn't go that route, and I'm glad they stuck to the script and stuck to the story of how Jimmy became Saul.
Yes, and I think it makes for a better show. I think it makes for a better prequel. Mm-hmm. And we see this. We see the establishment of Mike. How Mike comes into the picture, and how certain characters are utilized, how certain characters come into it, and I think I think that works much better. That works a lot better.
Yep. Let's see here. I think we discussed. You have any predictions for Monday's episode?
Oh gosh, I'm wondering if we're going to see more about. What is it? Is there going to be fallout from the killing of Arturo? Is there going to be is Kim eventually going to find out that Jimmy's been playing her?
Mhm.
That's another thing. Yeah, that he's not really getting a job. Well, but I guess we'll find that out whether he's actually getting a job or not too.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll find that out this Monday, but we'll find that out eventually.
Yeah, I'm wondering if because they teased it that Jimmy said to Kim that he's got a new job,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't know if he's lying or if he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
And hopefully we see that, either this Monday or at least sometime this season. And are we going to see or are we going to find out what's going to happen with Hamlin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The whole fallout with Hamlin and Kimmy. What's going to go on with that in that episode?
Yep. That's what I'm wondering too. I still think that maybe Better Call Saul will take Labor Day off, which would be September
Yeah, I think
3rd.
so too. I think so too. Because so I brought up a photo,
Okay.
and this is a teaser photo of what's to come. And this is the first look at Lalo.
Oh.
First look at Lalo.
Ah, interesting. Yeah. There's Hector.
And
Yes.
Hector in the wheelchair.
In the wheelchair
But notice,
with.
no bell yet. He does not have that bell.
Oh yeah.
He does have that little. He does have the little finger thing going for when he does have that bell.
Uh
That's what's in that box. The damn bell is in that box, guaranteed.
huh.
Lalo gives him the bell. Lalo gives him the bell. I'm calling it right now. That's the present he gives Hector is the bell.
Oh man.
I am mark it 8:53 p.m. Saturday, August 18th, 2018. That bell is in that box, guaranteed. So we finally figure it out where he gets that bell from, and he gets it from Lalo. That is awesome. That is awesome.
So that's what Lalo looks like. Interesting. Yes. So.
He looks like an interesting character. I cannot wait. To be honest with you, I figured that Tuco was the one that gives him the bell, but that's not going to be it. It's Lalo.
Interesting.
Lalo's gift to Hector. All right, so I think we marked out. We need to cool it down now because boy, this episode I loved it. I gotta get. I think this is good. This is like one of the best episodes of all 3 seasons.
Yeah,
this is one of the best. I think. I gotta get it 11. It's off the Richter scale for me on this episode.
Yep.
So I think that's going to do it for us tonight. We will see you here next week. Same time, same channel. However, I would be a year older because tomorrow is my birthday.
Happy early birthday. Yeah.
Thank you. Round of applause. Fun fact, John Stamos' birthday is tomorrow.
Ah.
Orville Wright, one half of the Wright brothers, is tomorrow. And to a lesser extent, I don't want to get political, but to a lesser extent, Bill Clinton's is tomorrow.
Okay.
But this little fun fact out there. But yeah, we'll see you here next Saturday night as we discussed episode 3 of season 4.
Something beautiful.
Something beautiful. And what is that something beautiful? What is that something beautiful? I mean, we got to figure that out. But on that note, hopefully Ellen will be able to make it next week. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it tonight, I guess, and last week. But hopefully she'll make it to next week. On that note, good night, everybody. See you here next week.